Hey everyone, this is Ben stepping in real quick. I just wanted to give you a little heads up that for the first 6 minutes of this episode, my audio as well as our guest Adam Palcher will sound a little echoey and bad, and that was my fault. I didn't have things set up correctly as we were recording in person for like the third time ever, something like that. So first 6 minutes is a little rough for us. Tyler, of course, sounds beautiful as always, but after that, all of our audio gets so much better. This episode is definitely one worth sticking around for. This was a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy it. So apologies for the first 6 minutes, but enjoy the episode, and we will see you next week to wrap up our Unsung Gems Round 3. Welcome to Three Films and a Podcast, the show where destiny brought together three friends to enhance each other's cinematic journey by watching three new movies in a series of themed rounds. There is no claim of ownership on any film footage used in this episode, as all film footage is owned in its entirety by the copyright holders. And just like every car in Too Fast, Too Furious, this podcast contains spoilers. Enjoy! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Three Films and a Podcast. My name is Ben Lawhorn, and as always, I'm joined by Tyler Beck.
That's right. Hello, I'm here with you.
Yeah, it's our second in person.
Yeah, man.
Right? Yeah. I'm excited. Hopefully the audio's better this time.
I'm not Matt.
You're not Matt. Unfortunately, he's getting ready for the Casa Cristo 5000, so he couldn't be here. But priorities, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, for those of you...
He's got a race to win.
He does. He has to. He's got to represent. We got our stickers all over the car.
Despite what Pops wants. He's got to do it.
What's that Hedberg joke? Like, I just want to be the passenger in a race car. Like, man, you really love Tide. That's what we deal with Matt. But yeah, for those of you new to the show, welcome to the movie club. For those of you returning, welcome back to the movie club. We're happy to have you here. You can find us anywhere online at 3filmspod or our website, 3filmspod.com, where we have Patreon merch, just everything you need and don't need. But speaking of the movie club, we do have, as you can see, the Podfather's here in person with us. Very excited about that. Adam Palcher's here from Deep Dive Film School.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Always enjoy coming on. It's fun to do it in person, too.
Totally.
It's going to be a good time. I'm very excited about that.
I miss your musk, so this is nice.
Oh,
It's nice to pick up. Gotta get the scent.
What do I smell like? Is it my barbecue
That's just something.
fragrance?
That's for me to know, just to hold in my heart.
This whole thing inside.
I don't want to tell you and have you change it.
Oh, okay. It's my new smokehouse barbecue cologne.
I did notice. Yeah.
Just bottle it up. Well, yeah, this week, I mean, we're happy to have you here.
Yeah,
You're
thanks for
on
having us.
Animal Kingdom and Howl's Moving Castle.
That's right. Those two.
Yeah, we're on a good streak here.
Yeah, let's keep it going. We actually need to get my partner on here.
I would love that. I miss
we'll
you.
have to have a conversation about that, but absolutely, he would love to come on. He is a ham.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Yeah, I love it.
Please check us out. I think we've inherited a few of your listeners over those past episodes. But yeah, Deep Dive Film School. We definitely do YouTube. That's our biggest part. But follow us on Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah, check him out. It's a great pod. It's fantastic.
Literally
pod.
the inspiration for what you're watching now. So.
Yeah, similar styles and setups, and we have festivals, and we break down scenes. We just came out with the Peter Finch "I'm Mad as Hell" scene from Network.
I just watched that today.
You did? Oh, thanks. Yeah, we're always breaking down scenes. That's a constant segment, which is a real fun way to kind of break down a whole movie. Honestly, it's kind of a weird way to do it, but it gives us a chance to really hone in on the cool stuff about a particular movie or a particular scene, because it's hard to not talk about the rest of the movie and in context of the scene
stuff. Yeah, I love your whole podcast, but that's actually like my favorite thing you guys do.
Thanks.
Is the scene
Awesome.
breakdowns. I think it's really clever and a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's way fun.
We're going to steal it.
It's not, I was going to say, it's not as in depth, but I feel like the elevator pitch, we kind of do that where it's like pick your favorite scene and then we'll talk about it from there. So yeah, I love doing that.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on, Speed Racer. Excited to chat about this one.
I'm very excited for this. I'm also excited that you're coming back for Joker, though. I think that's going to be one of the more interesting episodes we've ever had.
Yes. Oh, yeah?
Very much looking forward to it.
Okay. Yeah, I am as well.
I think it's going to be good. So yeah, we are in the middle of our third Unsung Gems round, which is, I think, proving to be rather popular. I think we enjoy it quite a bit. This was my pick. Normally, we do movies that we haven't seen before with the intent to kind of expand what we're watching and try new things out. Mm-hmm. But the Unsung Gems is quite literally the opposite of that, where we're just picking a movie that we love, that we think maybe most people either don't appreciate enough or just doesn't get enough attention. And this one was my pick. And I don't know, I was glad to have you come on for this. I love Speed Racer. I feel like the Wachowskis just kind of get pigeonholed as like the Matrix and that's it.
Yeah.
Sure. But I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, we'll talk about it. This was like the follow-up to the trilogy, which I think was a choice.
The only other movie they did was Bound, right?
I think so. Yeah,
that was their first movie, which was it's an interesting movie.
I've never even heard of it.
You haven't? Oh yeah, it's got, what is her name? Jennifer Tilly and Gina Gershon.
Oh wow!
And it's kind of like a mob movie to a degree, but there's a lot of lesbian sex.
You've got my attention.
So as a teenage boy, I was bound to that movie to some degree. But it's got Joey Pants. It's got a variety of people in there that are. It's a good movie though. It's underrated, but it's their first movie, and it was 96. Funny to see that first Matrix was basically their second movie that they directed as a team, which is, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And then this was right after it. And, I can probably see why people may not like this movie or it got panned critically, because it is, it's like a Skittle-induced acid trip through most of the movie. Like, it's a wild movie and there is a lot going on and it is constantly moving. But that's the part I love about it is the transition, how quick it is, how much it actually forces you to pay attention because there's so many layers to what they're doing. Even something as small when they're in that Costa Cristo race and they're, these people are pulling up behind them. You've never seen them before that are trying to take him out, all these henchmen, right?
Yeah.
And they just show them being paid off and getting, dollar signs in their eyes. As silly as it may look or whatever, like, just having those little nuggets in there really stand out to me as really fun and just keep me engaged. And they're able to do it with this transition where it's just basically that wipe across, right? They're doing whether it's people, the commentators, they're using it constantly to show layers and layers of things. And it's really interesting and fun to watch.
I wanted to maybe nominate, we're going to do a different Rushmore at the end of the episode, but I wanted to almost nominate face acting movies. But all I could really think of was Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man.
I will say, yes, it's a silly and wacky movie and it's always moving, but it kind of owns the cheesiness and understands that it's kind of paying tribute to the original cartoon as well. And yeah, I saw this in the theater and was like, I had a ton of fun. And I would love to hear your guys' opinion about this, but this is a sports movie, right? I mean, it's basically a sports movie.
Yeah.
And so I got those, angels in the outfield emotions.
You did?
The first time I watched it, I remember being so wrapped up into it, especially, the Costa Cristo part's really great. But the Grand Prix one at the end and the way they edit it and how he's just like, you never really doubt that him as a character is the best ever. Right. Like and that's fun to believe in someone like that, especially a character you just met, but also it's just fun to watch people be good at things that you're not good at. Right.
And like the way they put the movie together, it sort of seems like the type of ending where the hero loses, but wins in the end. Like he might lose the race, but still somehow the story is resolved in a way where it's a happy ending for the character, for the hero, like they still win the moral battle or whatever. So when he actually does win the Grand Prix, I actually found myself getting choked up too. I was like, oh shit, I didn't expect it, because
like when he says, "Get that weak shit off my track," you're like, oh shit,
I love that line.
Get that weak shit off my track.
Speed racing.
And like, I don't know what it is, whether it's the editing, but even like my family came in halfway and they were all just like roped in. It just ropes you in for some reason. Yeah. And maybe it depends on, what you're into, but and how fun can a movie be when it's literally all green screen, right? Yeah. Pretty much the whole time. Yeah. Everything around you is artificial. The neighborhoods, everything, pretty much except the people and maybe a few cars.
Which is funny because that was like my biggest complaint with the prequels for Star Wars. It's just like, it's all CG. I don't like it. But I think it lent itself really well to Speed Racer because it is like based on the manga and anime. And they really kept to that style. I think the closest thing I can think of is Ang Lee's Hulk, where he has like the comic book like strips, panels, in there. I don't know that it worked as well, as maybe he was hoping. But I think in this one, it was perfect. I mean, how many of those like panning shots with like the talking head, it was like the actions going on behind him in this movie. Like I loved it. I think it set the tone really well and you just knew what you were here for. And like you said, it's just like, it's overly saturated. It's just like the throw up of Skittles all over the screen.
Yeah.
But it worked perfectly. I loved all the animation, that final race. That is beautiful, I think, to watch. And I just love this whole thing. I think it's captivating, like you said.
Being the one person who hasn't seen this movie, how did you feel about it after it was over?
So I wrote in Letterboxd that I was going to add another movie to the probably 20 to 30 minutes too long list.
Oh, okay.
Because I just felt like all I cared about was the racing and the action.
Yeah.
Or just the action in general. I feel like there's not many people that can do an action scene quite the way that the Wachowskis can do it.
Mm-hmm.
The way they can choreograph it and shoot it in a way that's not just doesn't feel cheap. Like you actually see the action, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just wanted more of that. I found myself bored at times. Like I liked all the setup and everything, but once we get to the Casa Cristo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they call it? Once we get there, I'm just like, I don't know why we didn't just keep racing the whole time. I didn't care or need any of the other stuff.
The family stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. Like, you know, you kind of need some time to breathe.
Sure.
But I'm like, okay, I've caught my breath. Like, let's go. Like, what are we doing? Like, I almost felt like I was at the track and they're taking too long to set up the next race, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I would compare it to like Fury Road. Like once you get into Fury Road, you're going, you're in the swamp for a minute, you're going, and we're done.
I think they do.
And that's what I wanted out of Speed Race.
Yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job of pulling back when they did. But again, I like this movie and like the layers that they're doing. And yeah, you do have to have that family dynamic. That's part of it.
For sure.
I could do without Spritle and Chim Chim.
Sure. Yeah.
Like cut that shit out.
That's
fine,
another thing I'm like, and I've heard this critique of the movie before I've even seen it, is I'm not sure who this movie's for.
Totally.
Like I feel like they wanted it to be for everyone. And I was trying to think of movies that are for everyone.
It's PG, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so like you have Pixar, and they know how to make a movie that just works for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not just for kids. It's not just for adults, but they make it work so much better. Like the longest movie that I could find was Ratatouille, and it was like an hour and 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it still works, I think, for everyone. And this one, for all the things I did like about it, I just didn't feel like it worked for everyone. So I wish they just would have leaned into more of like the kids angle or more of the adult angle.
Yeah, that's a good point. Make it PG-13 maybe. Yeah, that's good. I never thought about that, but yeah, who is this movie for? Because it's not like I'm some Speed Racer fan,
right,
or some massive Wachowski fan either necessarily. Mm-hmm. Love The Matrix and a few of their other things, but mostly the original Matrix, which is what they're obviously known for the most. But like, I really enjoyed this movie. But like, is it because it's like a sports movie? Is it because it's just like a trippy ride and you don't know where you're getting off? Like, but that's a total valid point of who is this movie for? And I will say, my kids and family enjoy it.
I'm sure. I was going to ask about what Caden thought about it for sure. Mm-hmm. And Maya. I guess I like Maya too.
She's all right.
But like, one thing I will say is, they're coming off of the Matrix here. Is it all three Matrix? Matrixi?
The Matrix.
Matrix.
Yeah.
But if you look at it from like a technical achievement standpoint, like I feel like this holds up with the Matrix because some of the things they did, the way they shot it, the cameras they used, some of the techniques they used, I was reading about on IMDb. It's pretty incredible. Yeah, they broke in a new camera. They were the first people to use that high definition Sony camera. And so like
they were using stuff from the Matrix in here for sure. Yeah. Like in a total candy.
And it looked incredible. Like the whole time I was just like, I don't know how the fuck they did this.
You've never seen anything quite like it, right?
Anything like it. And for that, I really appreciated it. I'm just like, but that's all I want. I don't care about any of that other stuff.
When they're like zooming from, face to face, or they can come from a helicopter down into like the arena all the way. Like it's a pretty wild ride. Again.
The ice cave chase blew me away.
Yeah. The Casa Cristo stuff is great.
There's a shot I love too. I think it was in the Casa Cristo where like, I forget who it is. There's a car coming right at us and we go over it, but then we're going right towards speed. And then all of a sudden we're just like keeping up with them. It's like, oh, that was kind of a cool like transition. You expect both of them just to go right under you, but it's like, no, we're going to stay right in front. Like, I think, I don't know how they choreographed all the racing, just keeping track of everything. I mean, it's just, I
like that in of itself is incredibly impressive. But
I think it's all a fair point because there's one thing I wanted to talk about is I feel like this gets, it's an unsung gem because I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it or don't love it. And was it because it was the follow-up to The Matrix? I mean, you have these three, one definitely like genre busting film that just like changed so many things.
Yep.
The other two have, you know, their faults and stuff like that. But
there's some good stuff in there too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I enjoy all of them. But the people are coming off the Matrix and they're going to see
what's your next thing.
Yeah, and it's like it's Speed Racer. Like, was it a passion project?
I would love to hear that. I don't know.
That's what it was.
Find anything about that.
But there's no way you go into Speed Racer expecting the Matrix. Like the color palette alone is just like, okay, this is gonna be different.
Yeah.
But are you like? Do we think maybe they couldn't handle it as well as the Matrix because it wasn't like original material? Or
I'm not entirely sure there. I do think there is some level of expecting what we got from the Matrix as far as like the tone and the violence and you know the more adult themes and everything. And now we go to like a pretty grounded story, all things considered. It's about a family trying to make
the Matrix for sure.
Right. Yeah. And I think that has a lot to do with it, because I did notice there was one moment where I wasn't quite sure, and I actually wish this would have happened, and this would have been my pitch to them, is it starts with a very childlike feel and with the way the neighborhood is shot and the really bright blues and greens and being a young kid and all that stuff. And it seems like a kid's movie. And then there's that chase scene where they have the room inside the semi, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And they're shooting out of the doors. And I was like, oh, it's getting progressively more adult as the movie goes along. Yeah. And I wish it would have kept doing that. So it ends in like a very adult tone and starts very childlike. I think that would have been a cool way to progress the movie. And
you felt like it regressed in some.
Yeah, I felt like it was
parts.
Just bouncing back and forth. Yeah. And not that it's necessarily a bad thing. And but I just wish it would have kept going that way, because I think that'd be really cool. I don't think I've ever seen that done before.
I feel like too, a lot of some of the characters are very extreme, right? Like you have these cigar jumping, chomping bad guys, right? Like in that are in that room, that mafia guy, all the mafia guys. And it's like the producer's version of a bad guy stereotype, right? Yeah. And that's fun in the right movie. And I think this is the right movie for it, actually. Yeah. But I can see how someone would be turned off, like, oh, that guy, like he's stupid, or he doesn't. How can I take him seriously? He's not really a threat.
You come from Agent Smith to, you know, the caricature of it.
Yeah, exactly. I did. The Spritle, is that the little kid's name? I didn't mind him. He was probably my least favorite part of it, but it felt like watching like they shrunk John Candy. Like, cool, also be this one, because like I feel like he was like hamming it up a lot, like what we normally get from John Candy.
Ham, and then he's got
speaking of ham,
monkey.
I kept thinking of The Sandlot. Oh, was like they somehow took him out from the past and placed him in this movie.
I like that.
Funny.
Hey, is that your sister out there in left field, naked? She's naked. Shut up, Porter! Hey, I'm just trying to have a little friendly conversation. Come on. You think she'd go out with me?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's fine. It's comic relief is what he's there for, right? Exactly. I mean, that's really it. And it's
for the kids.
It is, yeah. And that's like, if they took him out of the movie, that kid stuff bouncing around probably would have not seemed as extreme.
Probably. But I also think they could have, I mean, you watch a lot of kids movies. Yeah. And I'm sure you see how your children have reacted to the characters in these movies. They could have made him less of a caricature of a child. You know what I mean? It could have been like a more realistic troublemaker. He could, you know what I mean? Sure. Like, he didn't need to be Dennis the Menace. He could have been.
Yeah, he's totally Dennis the Menace. Just wants candy and sugar.
Yeah, which is cool. Like, I don't know. He could have been more like Stranger Things.
But totally,
you know what I mean?
But if he wasn't in the movie and Chim Chim was just their brother, it would have been just as
now that I'm into. Just a random monkey as their son. Like, that's funny. That's cool.
Now we're talking.
I feel like they were like pretty respectful to the anime and manga and stuff, but I also feel like we were just like 10% away from it being like Kung Pao, or we're just like making fun of like the source material, where like someone talks and like 30 seconds later their mouth moves, you know, like it was a lot. I think they did a good job with it. Obviously, that's why I picked it. I really do enjoy this film. And between this and Rocky Horror, I'm just here for everything Susan Sarandon. So I was just like, I was on board just seeing her on screen the whole time.
She's
like,
great.
It's a great
she's
choice.
Always good.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the Racer X Rex brother dynamic?
What did you think of the first time?
The first time. I've seen it a few times. And, you know, Spritle probably wasn't annoying the first time, but after like the fifth time, I'm just like, all right, I get it. Yeah. But something like that where they were teasing it the whole movie, right?
Yeah, I liked that they did like a little double twist, little fake out, where it's like, oh, like because the whole time I'm like, that's his brother.
Yeah,
you know, like
it's
for sure his brother. And then when it's not, I'm like, oh shit, that's kind of cool. Yeah. And then I was actually thought it was cool again when they did the reverse double switch, you know. So I thought that was fine.
Yeah.
It was, you know, obvious and heavy handed, but that wasn't nearly my biggest issue.
Yeah.
With the movie.
I think the first time I saw it, I thought maybe like he knew Rex or something like that. Like I didn't really think it was the brother, especially like when the reveal is like, okay, you're not Rex, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, maybe they like work together and that's how he's like here to like avenge him or something. But I think the reveal works, you know, like showing all the plastic surgery stuff.
It
like,
is a little bit of like a ex machina sort of thing. Like, oh, you got fucking plastic surgery. That seemed a little cheap to me, but I was like, whatever. That's
Haven't
fine.
you ever seen Face Off? It's just like that.
It's just like Face Off.
It's good to see Jason Street though.
I was stoked.
Friday Night Lights. It's like he's walking. This is great. I love
my boy Street 6, man. He's up.
This is so cool.
I really liked Emil Hirsch as Speed too. I thought he played it like really calm and cool. He never overreacts, and like I said, you just believe that he was the best at what he did.
Yeah. Totally. I think that's 100% true. Like there's never a moment where you'd think that he's not gonna win or that he shouldn't win. You know what I mean? And they set that up really well with the way he beats his brother in the end, but he pulls back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's in the beginning.
Right. Cool. He
doesn't break his record
in the beginning.
But, you know, but there's this whole family crisis of, you know, everyone's always against them because there's this independent company. So they always are fighting against the odds, right?
Right.
Rex had to go through it. Now Speed's going through it. And, you know, you're fighting for the underdog. And it's easy when you know they're the best.
Right, totally.
He was literally Speed Racer. Like he's going to be the best.
His name is Speed.
It made me wonder why they didn't name Rex Speed, though. It's like, let's not waste it on the first kid. I think maybe the second kid will be the good racer, but we're not going to call Rex Speed.
On the first kid.
Let's test it out first. But speaking of Emil Hirsch, I think it's time for us to get into our Apollonia Award.
Let's do it.
Which is, for those who don't know, it came from Purple Rain. Essentially, Reader's Digest version is like the side character that maybe, I don't know, holds the movie for us, that really like captures our attention as Apollonia did in Purple Rain. So I'm curious, besides Emil, who was your favorite co-star of this movie?
If I had to choose, it would probably. I'm surprised you
don't get to leave until
you do have to choose.
No, but I'm surprised we haven't talked about him yet. But Royalton, Roger Alam as Royalton. He's awesome. He's also in V for Vendetta as well.
Oh yeah,
he's a major character in that movie. But like he does not do much else. He probably does some TV shows,
which is surprising
and stuff like that. But like he's so good. And he is such a good bad guy here.
Totally.
Like he, you know, they go through and give them the tour of his company, and he's schmoozing them the whole time, you know, giving them whatever they want. He just has all these preconceptions of, oh, this is going to work out. I know this is going to work out because it always works out. But like just his angst once he doesn't get what he wants, and what a baby he is, and like what a threat he potentially is too.
Totally.
His character was super fun for me.
I'm curious, like when I saw this the first time, who I associated with him, because now it's just like, oh, this is like Bezos or something, like someone who like has a company that's unrelated, but I'm just going to buy everything and we're just going to have it all. It's like hard not to see that with like maybe a little of the Elon Musk, like we're going to be racers, we're like changing everything. But I thought his performance was wonderful.
Well, he was my pick as well.
Oh, okay.
And in a lot of ways, I thought he was the best, not the best part of the movie, but I mean, he was the best performance, I thought.
Yeah.
And he was probably my second favorite thing about the movie was watching him. And I know I complained a lot about like the downtime scenes and not even just the family stuff, but just anything that wasn't racing. And he's a big part of the parts that weren't racing. But I felt like if you could have condensed it to where it was just him and
Mm-hmm.
racing, you know, just all the conflict, right? I just want conflict, I guess.
Sure.
But in the interest of having a different answer, I'm going to shout out John Goodman.
Yeah.
My boy Walter. I thought he was really good in this. I thought he was believable as Pops.
Yeah, he did good.
I liked watching him fight.
He was
doing like strongman fighting stuff, just throwing people. Like
awesome.
I thought that was really cool.
He was my next in line if someone had taken that as well. Pops is good. Yeah, John Goodman's. I mean, go through his filmography.
He's one of my
what is he
favorites.
bad in?
He's so
good all
and
the
he's
time.
He's kind of always just the same thing.
Yeah.
Just like varying degrees of bad or good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm watching the Righteous Gemstones right now.
Oh, so good.
He's incredible.
He's
like
so
anytime he's on screen, I just love that guy.
Lost a ton of weight in that show too. But like, think of just like Barton Fink. Like, I'm just thinking anything he does with Coens is amazing.
Well, even the first thing I remember him from Roseanne. Like, watching as a kid, I was like, oh yeah, that guy's
Dan.
hilarious. Yeah, Dan, like he's so good in that. And then
we've been watching him since our childhood. You know, so and again, like look through his filmography, point to the bad movie.
Yeah,
there's probably one, but like I don't
think it's a bad performance though. Yeah,
is it because of him? No,
exactly. Yes, 100%. I mean, I've already kind of shouted out Susan Sarandon, who I'm always here for, but I just also want to mention Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think I'm surprised we haven't talked about her yet at all, but I think she fits into this role perfectly. Like I was trying to think of like who would I recast in this role, and I don't know who I would because I think she was just like perfect. You know, it's like she's obviously has like these very her characteristics, like her eyes, all that kind of stuff, I think fit into this kind of story really well. And who she is, I think she's the perfect look for it. And in watching Yellow Jackets, like it's amazing to see the roles that she can like fit into that work really well. Obviously, we know there's like Wednesday Addams when we did our like Addams Family review and stuff, but I think she was great in this. She was a great like counterpoint to Emile. I think like we had some scenes of them alone, which was always kind of fun. I just
the relationship,
and she got to be like what's the word I'm looking for?
Badass.
Yeah, she was a badass.
Yeah.
You know, she got
gets
to
in the car.
Yeah, she can drive. She was smart.
She
was
matches
all that
speed,
stuff.
right? Like they're a good match.
She was all the things
Trixie.
that I was bummed that Susan Sarandon didn't get to do.
Yeah,
like the one thing she does is make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which
the wrong way.
Yeah, and I was just
I don't know if you noticed that.
I was like, this is the thing that like. There's nothing wrong with making sandwiches or like providing for the family or whatever, but it's just like, I was bummed for her. I was like, this whole family, they get to do all this cool stuff.
She does have a great moment with Speed on his bed though, which I'm glad. And they even cut back to it in that final Grand Prix race of like, you know, sometimes I watch you and it's like an artist, right?
That's true.
And
I guess I was a little unfair with she doesn't do anything.
But she's a peripheral character that could have probably, you could have, get rid of what is his name? Spritle and Mom and just or Spritle and Trixie. Though I liked, I like him. No, we're keeping Chim Chim.
You want to get rid of Trixie?
Well, I'm just saying you could give that stuff to the mom, and then it's really more of a family dynamic.
Yeah, or even just like. Just want to see her help work on the car and stuff. I don't know why. I was offended for her. I was like, they let you just make sandwiches. Like
she gets to do the emotional support. Everyone else gets some action thing. Like Trixie gets to race, Goodman gets to fight.
She's not fighting.
Even Spritle gets to hit the guy with his slingshot or whatever. Yeah. And Susan Sarandon just was the emotional. So I totally get that. But she's great at it though.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I think it's time for our 3 films trivia. This is, just anything you found out about this movie while doing your research. My favorite thing I saw was that Keanu Reeves turned this down as Racer X, which was a surprise to me because I would think coming off The Matrix, it would also be like, yep, whatever you guys want, I'll do it. I'm here. Like, I don't know what he did in place of this, if it was a scheduling conflict, but it says that he turned down the role of Racer X. I'm like, man, this is a different movie. I think Matthew Fox does a great job in that role. He's fine. But I don't know who I would take over Keanu in any role. It's just like, totally. He would have been great for this.
Yeah, it is curious to know what he did instead.
Yeah.
Maybe I could imagine working on The Matrix was pretty grueling.
I was going to say, maybe he's
just like, guys,
I'm good.
Like,
no more, please.
I can't do this. Another casting what if from here that I thought was funny was Henry Rollins was also offered the role of Racer X, which just made me laugh in the same way that Adam just did.
Yeah.
I like Henry Rollins.
I do too.
But I'm just like, okay, sure, Henry Rollins.
So random. When was the last time he was in a movie? It's been forever.
I was actually looking at his IMDb.
He was in that movie, The Chase, with Christy Swanson and Charlie Sheen. Do you remember that movie?
Oh, I don't.
You don't? Oh, that's a good one.
He does like a lot of TV stuff and I think a lot of voice acting.
Yeah, I've seen him in a handful of things. But no, he's always fun. But you wouldn't feel like you're watching Racer X.
No, I'd be like, that's you're fucking Henry Rollins. What the fuck is Black Flag doing in here?
Yeah.
I know a lot of the technical stuff, like they broke in. I can't remember the name of the camera. Some Sony.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
First time.
Yeah, sorry. No, it's okay. Go for it.
Well, no, that's I'll let you take it from there because I just thought that was interesting and cool.
Yeah, no, I mean they're pioneers. I mean they did a very similar thing in Matrix, the first Matrix, right? In the slow motion, that all stuff was all new there. And yeah, they pioneered it even more here. I don't remember the details of what the camera did, but it was like
the way I remember reading it was it had enough depth that the foreground and the background were equally crisp. And so it really helped them with, because when you think about it, like everything's in focus pretty much the entire time. At least in a lot of the action and there's like the neighborhood scene in the beginning I'm thinking of specifically. I remember noticing like, oh, we have complete sharp focus from the foreground to the background. That's pretty crazy. And it's a really unique look for a movie. And I thought it worked really well. And then, obviously I read that I think they actually shot on 2 cameras.
Yeah.
They had the primary and then like another one to save like master.
Yeah. They recorded the other one in SD or something like that.
Okay.
Like they pulled the Tommy Wiseau with the reel, which is like record on 2 cameras at once. So
the first Wilhelm scream that I can remember from doing this podcast, when Spritel and Chim Chim they're like in that cart at Royalton Industries. And they knock someone over and he does a Wilhelm scream. It's the first time I've noticed one in a movie we've watched for the podcast.
Oh, that's funny.
So I thought that was
when
cool.
Chim Chim's driving that thing, whenever standing on the steering wheel. I like the Henry Rollins thing. That's just like, I guess this has been trying to like get into production since 82 or 84 or something like that. Really? They've been trying to like make a movie on
Alfonso Cuarón was attached as director.
What?
Wow. Yeah. That'd be really interesting.
Very different movie.
Totally.
Yeah.
2008 is when this was made. So it took that long, huh?
Yeah. 20 plus years, I guess, to finally get.
While you guys are talking, I'm going to look up what Keanu was doing in 2008.
I looked him up. It's in 2008, he did Street Kings and The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Ooh.
But he did like 7 movies in between this and what would have come out. Something's Got to Give, which I can't blame him for. Don't want to miss out on that. Constantine, Thumbsucker, Scanner Darkly.
Scanner Darkly's great.
Lake House. So I don't know. He wasn't necessarily taking a break, but maybe just like the scheduling or just like, I don't know.
That stuff just doesn't work out sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe just too much green screen, you know? Like you take a break from that.
I want to see a person.
I can't imagine.
In a real live like restaurant.
The only other thing I liked that I want to mention is I guess the voice actors for the cartoon. The main 2 voice actors are the announcers at the beginning. Like they play some of the other announcers, whenever, like in the different languages, like talking about Rex and stuff. So
that's cool.
I thought it was cool they gave that kind of a cameo to do something like that.
Awesome.
I think it's time for our elevator pitch. I don't know if you guys run into this on your pod, but sometimes when we tell people why we picked a movie, they want to know why. So we just like to kind of come up with this thing. If you had a couple minutes in an elevator, you could show somebody one scene about the movie to kind of sell them on it. What would it be?
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
I mean, honestly, to your point, it's the racing stuff.
Yeah.
It would have to be, without spoiling, but like either the Casa Cristo 5000 stuff, which is, it's outside. It's got a variety of like climates and they're all over the world in this race.
Yeah.
But the Grand Prix stuff, the stuff that like, I wouldn't say quite chokes me up, but gets you just like excited and rooting for them is the Grand Prix stuff. So I would probably choose that.
It's a solid choice.
I mean, the racing, this isn't my pick, but if I were to pick a racing scene, I would have picked the ice cave. I thought I just was like, it's like, how in the fuck did they do this? Like, I mean, I don't know how they make movies in general. I couldn't even get a short film off the ground. So it's like, I don't even know how to do any of this, but like, So as far as racing is concerned, that's the one I would have picked. But when I was thinking about this answer, you're going to get racing in the movie. So I was like, I don't really want to show a racing scene, but I want to show something that shows the technical aspects of the movie, like some of the more impressive technical things they did. And I thought the Wonka scene, the scene through Royalton Industries.
Wonka scene.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool because like if you're talking to someone who likes movies, they'll appreciate the Wonka reference. And there's a lot of crazy shit happening in that building. So
they're training their racers through all of these weird conditions. Right. And
so it's
fun.
like you get an idea of like, oh, this movie's like wild and they're doing some really cool stuff. And that was the last point that I wanted to see anything like that. From that point on, I wanted to see all the racing. So that would be my pitch, my setup.
I think it's solid. Yeah. For me, it'd be another racing scene. And specifically the one that always sticks with me is, I think it's in the Grand Prix, but like with the spikes and everyone has to like drive through the spikes and doing all that kind of stuff. Like, and that whole scene, I think after that is when he's like dealing with the 2 guys on his side and I feel like everyone forgets that he can like jump his car.
Yeah,
everyone keeps trying to do the same thing. It's like
true.
He can just jump over.
That's a cool move though, right?
It's
a fun
awesome.
move.
I never got sick of it. Not even once.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah, jumping cars.
Yeah,
like,
I loved it every time. It's like, does no one like let other people know like, oh yeah, his car can jump, so don't just try to hit him because he'll just jump over you. But yeah, honestly, I think any of the racing scenes work. But specifically for me, I really love like them going in and out of the spikes and just, I don't know. Also, though, it was kind of cool that I guess no one was ever like really in mortal danger because like they all got like whatever foam, you know,
the
like,
foam.
So it's kind of interesting to be like, oh yeah, you could just really fuck someone up, but you know you're not going to kill him, you know, or he pushes that guy off the cliff and then like the parachute opens. So it's like no one's dying in this, but like it's still pretty cutthroat. So I thought that was kind of rad.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Nice. Well, I think it's time to take a trip to our drive-in double feature. This is sponsored by our good friend of the pod, Adam Driver. Yes.
I just had sex. I'm about to eat nachos. It's the greatest moment of my life.
Not Adam Palcher.
No.
He's the Podfather.
A lot of good Adams out there.
Yes,
Adam Driver is the patron saint.
The patron saint.
Films
I love the Podfather. I like that. It's fun.
We love the Podfather too.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Our top two Adams. So yeah, this is just the opportunity for us to.
If you ever want to change this to the Adam Palcher double feature, I won't. I won't stop you.
That'll be this week. Sponsored by our good friend Adam Palcher.
Yeah, I'll sponsor it.
We could do the Palch Buster. That was his nickname for a long time.
That's true.
Was it really?
Because I had so many movies.
So you can have the Palch Buster and pick out.
Palch Buster.
That's awesome. I like that.
Palch Buster double feature.
It's not bad.
It's there.
It's not bad. Once Adam Driver sues us, then we'll change it to yours.
Deal.
So what are you pairing with the Speed Racer for your Palch Buster?
So there's a couple angles that I wanted to go here. I think you could easily go the racing route and do something like Ford versus Ferrari.
I still need to see that.
Or, it's great. Or an underrated racing movie, I think, is Ron Howard's Rush.
Oh, God. So
it's excellent.
Daniel Bruhl, right? And
Daniel
Chris
Bruhl.
Hemsworth.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. It's excellent.
Thor's in it?
Yeah, it's really well made, too. Or you could do something super like Talladega Nights or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I got vibes of, especially starting off like the kid, you know, if you're not first, you're last. And like seeing this one, the little kid, like the hand.
Hopefully I'm not stealing any of your guys.
No,
okay.
not yet.
And then I was like, oh, okay, is there an actor pairing that you could do? And I was thinking, Into the Wild with Emil Hirsch would be an interesting one.
Interesting switch, yeah.
But I ended up going with the remake pairing. And I'm going to have it be Tron Legacy is my choice.
Okay.
Nice.
I think that's an underrated movie. It's a really fun throwback.
And it's an unsung gem.
And it's also all green screen. Like it's a very similar type of movie. They're remaking something that has legacy, right? And you know, it's pretty much full on green screen for the most part. And it's just like, it's not like a great movie, but it's a really good movie. And like the Daft Punk score is amazing. And it's just, it has some similar tropes that this one does. Maybe not as extreme, but like there's some closeness there. And I thought Tron Legacy was a pretty good choice. So
yeah, I think, the Daft Punk, like I listen to that soundtrack quite a bit. I love that soundtrack. So good. And I mean, didn't mention earlier, but Michael Giacchino did the music on this one. And like, he's just kind of like just taken off, I think, in the last 5 years or so. Like he's been doing great stuff forever, but I think now he's just, to me, he's going to fill those shoes of like the John Williams and Hans Zimmer. I think he's like right up there as far as like being in demand. So the soundtrack I thought was great on this. Yeah,
the soundtrack, I noticed in the notes you had some soundtrack stuff. And I got to thinking like, the soundtrack was great. The score was so good. And I feel like sometimes you need the score to like, you need to not notice it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You need it to like influence you in a way that you don't know. And I felt like this movie did that really well. And then when you needed it to, it would come in with the Speed Racer theme and you'd be like, oh, that's right, Speed Racer, go Speed Racer. And then it would kind of like not fade away, but it wasn't like overpowering in the way that like, I love Hans Zimmer, but like, you know, you're watching a Hans Zimmer score when you're watching it. Like it's really intense. And I think the John Williams comparison is really good because he's really good at blending and then showing when he needs to show.
No, that's a great point. Yeah, you shouldn't really notice a score.
Because when you said that, I was like, was the score really good here? And I was like, I mean, I think it was because
I don't know that it was like outstanding, like you noticed it, you know, but I think that was intentional of like it just fit in with what was going on. Right. There's a note in there that said like he like listened to that theme song from the show and tried to take cues from that. So I think it's cool that they play the theme song at the end during the credits. because when you're listening to that, it's like, oh, I can hear kind of what he pulled in for this soundtrack from this theme song, which I thought was super cool.
Yeah. But wait, what was the real question? Drive-in double feature. So Racer X's costume just made me really want to watch Daredevil.
Nice.
I got my rewatch was interrupted by it moving from Netflix to Disney Plus.
Oh yeah.
So, well, not rewatch, my first watch.
Oh, you're talking about the TV show?
The TV show.
Okay.
But TV's not allowed here on Three Films in a Podcast. It's
so
one
I
of
can't
our
choose
rules
Party
of Movie
Five.
Club.
It's not 3 TV shows.
It's not that's a whole different spin-off.
So you're going with Ben Affleck one.
I did see that in theaters. I remember not hating it, but I don't really remember.
With what we had at the time, it was like, all right, it's the comic.
There wasn't any comic book movies back then.
I notoriously snuck into movies, and I didn't pay for it, and I was entertained, so it was good enough for me. But for a real answer, I mentioned it earlier. I just wanted the Fury Road template, so I'm just gonna go watch Fury Road.
Yeah.
We're just gonna keep this thing going, and we're gonna start with Speed Racer and with Fury Road.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
an intense night.
Yeah.
But,
It's a lot. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But we're going for it.
Yeah.
I was gonna just stick with the colorful manga on screen theme and just go with Akira because I think like this stuff. Obviously, there's
nice.
It's also animation, obviously like a different kind from the green screen, but the stuff they pulled off in that is amazing to think about. I think it's like from '88, something like that. Akira, but the artwork is just beautiful. I think it still kind of holds up now. So I would pair those together. I might end with Speed Racer, maybe because it is a little more family. I don't know, whatever. Just kind of like. But both of those, I think, would go nicely together.
I just realized I saw Fury Road with you.
That's theaters. Right. We did.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. I got taken to that by someone I hadn't seen any trailers or anything, and so in my mind, I'm still thinking like Road Warrior or whatever. He's like, we're gonna go see Mad Max. Like, all right, whatever, man. Like, I don't know. Okay.
Sure.
And I just was like, we saw it in IMAX and I was just fucking blown away.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. Like, this is the guy that did Babe. Like, he did
but he also did the first couple
Max,
Mad Max
yeah.
movies. So
this was just like, man, the movie
George
was
Miller.
I think
he also did Happy Feet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think I've said this on the pod before, but the worst movie take I've ever heard was an old coworker told me that they didn't like Mad Max Fury Road because nothing happens.
Wow.
And I didn't know how to, I was like, all that movie is things happening. It's just like, it's a barrage of things happening.
Yeah. If you want to
that was
reduce it to its most minimal things, be like, yeah, they go somewhere, then they have to go back. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's true, you know, but there's so much that goes on in that movie. It's
true.
There's so much that happens. But speaking of Mad Max Fury Road, I have a feeling this is going to come up in this segment. I think it's time for our Rushmore Mountain.
Let's do it.
These are OR scrubs. Oh, are they?
I decided to do car chase scenes. So while a lot of these are races, there actually is like an actual car chase in here. And then throughout the races, Speed's getting chased all the time. So I thought, what better movie to do a car chase Rushmore than this one? So I'm excited to hear your list. What's your 4?
I'm up first.
You're up first.
Podfather first. Can this be sponsored by me? No, I'm just kidding. I'm going with a classic one here with my first one, but The French Connection. The chase under the bridge, especially in the 70s, Gene Hackman being badass. We got Roy Schneider in there as well. But like Sherlock, my partner on on Deep Dive Film School, he hates car chase scenes. And he's like, this is actual real. He loves this scene. So I would definitely put that in there. It was really kind of one of the first ones to break through and have it really be like a big part of it. You know, they got cameras strapped all over the car. You're getting real live footage. And it's just a badass movie. It's a great movie.
I saw it on a lot of lists and I unfortunately haven't seen it yet. So we'll probably work it into the podcast.
Nice.
I assumed one of you guys were going to put it on there. So like, someone will talk about French Connection.
It's like early 70s. So a lot of people may not have seen it, but great movie.
Yeah.
Totally recommend that. Next up, I'm going to go with I've never seen the originals, so I'm going with the Marky Mark remake of The Italian Job.
Yep.
Nice.
Great cast in this movie. This was really, you had kind of seen minis before.
Yeah.
This was the first movie that really featured them, and everyone got them, and they're chasing each other around like Pac-Man around the whole city and stuff, driving downstairs, all that stuff.
The Cooper lots were empty after this movie. I have a feeling.
Yeah, for sure. But just a super fun movie. And, that kind of defined that movie a little bit, I thought.
Yeah, this was one that was on DVD when I was in high school, and a lot of my friends had it. So I watched this movie a lot, at least pieces of it during I haven't seen it since. But it was like a big part of high school. And the car chase scene, I remember talking about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think we would just turn it on to the car chase scene sometimes. And
I can still picture a DVD cover, like the yellow stripes coming down the middle, and only because
Charlize
it's not
Theron
here.
looking smoking.
Oh, yeah.
So good. Ed Norton is in there too, right? Ed Norton.
Yeah, Ed Norton's the bad guy. You got Michael Caine in there too.
I was just going to say, because Matt isn't here, I feel like we have to shout out the original Italian Job. At least Steve, I know he loves it, but Matt told one of my favorite stories when he like rented the Italian Job video game. And then it turns out it was based on like the 70s version. So it's like Michael Caine like doing all like the voiceover and stuff. He thought he was getting like the Marky Mark, like, yeah, let's go drive fast. It's like, no, it's based on like the original movie.
Yeah, I think that would be fun to visit though. I think I would be interested to see how that movie was made back in the day.
Sure.
yeah.
Next up, I'm going, anytime I could shout out this guy, but I'm going Baby Driver.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I have a particular scene necessarily, honestly, all of them, because Edgar Wright's so damn good at doing soundtracks. And, you know, his whole thing is he's wearing the iPod, the earpods the whole time. That's just a fun movie. Like it's really well done. He's amazing at it. It's got that great sense of humor, that fast paced Edgar Wright stuff. He's not using any of his normal people in the movie either. You're not seeing Simon Pegg or anyone else in the movie. So, a variety of people. I think Jamie Foxx isn't.
Don
Draper.
John Bernthal.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about Ansel Elgort or Kevin Spacey, but they are also there.
He is also in it.
When I think about that movie, though, I think of my favorite scene is I think it's the beginning chase, and when he lines up with the other two red cars and like nudges one over because they're under an overpass and the helicopter's watching them, and just like how he's able to work that in, but just like doing all of it to the music and to the beat. And stuff.
The music is a huge part of it, but that's one that stood out to me.
Podcast favorite.
And then is it? Yeah, it's a great movie. And then I'm gonna have to go the scene in T2 where they're chasing the "Come
like
with
in
me
the
if you want to
canal
live."
kind of thing.
It's got a name for it, and I'm not a Californian, so I can't remember it.
Is it the LA River?
Something like that.
I can't remember. Anyways, but the T2 when he goes and saves Edward Furlong the first time, and they're chasing him, and he's on the back, and that the new Terminator is chasing them. It is just, I just remember watching that for the first time and just being blown away. I mean, James Cameron obviously has been a pioneer for a lot of things, especially visually, in his movies, and this was another example of him. This was. I know it's Terminator, and the first Terminator is a fucking amazing movie.
Yeah, it's
and this movie is really good too. But that scene in particular was one of the first things that came to my mind when you asked about this list. So I'm going T2. I'm
due for a revisit on T2. I haven't seen it in a long time, and the only thing I remember is because it stuck out to me as a kid is when T-1000's face gets cut or gets a hole or whatever happens, and he like fills it back in, and like all the stuff they did with T-1000, which I have seen it since then, and it doesn't really hold up that well. It's still cool and it's still good, but I remember when I was a kid, it looked so real to me.
Because you'd never seen it.
I've never seen it before.
Yeah, you'd never seen something like that before. And that, I mean, it's like you can't have someone spend the first 20 years of their life watching movies these past 20 years and then say, hey, look at Jurassic Park.
Right.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know. It's
whatever.
I mean, it is, it's great, but like, I think there's something to say about when something came out, right? And being something that pioneered something bigger.
I was still
like Lord of the Rings pioneered these massive war scenes in every movie after that, right? Because
I think that's like French Connection. I think if some people watch it now for the first time, they're like, all right, it's cool because I've seen Baby Driver. But if you think about when it was done and like putting the cameras in the car, like you got to keep that context in mind. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
it's kind of how I felt watching Raging Bull too. So we've seen boxing movies since then. And
but not one like that.
Yeah. And I still loved Raging Bull, but I was just like a little underwhelmed, but I also did have that context. Like I realized that this was hard for them to do in the time. And it was the first movie that did it in the way that he was able to do it. Was that 4? Did you get 4?
Yeah, I got 4.
Okay. So I'm going to double up the Italian Job for one of mine for all the reasons.
You're not, remember you took it off. You're doing Tenet instead.
I did?
Yeah. That's what you said.
Well, it's still there. You have 5
you
on
just
there.
didn't. Yeah, you have 5.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, just
Well, Italian Job's an honorable mention for me.
Okay.
And I will actually switch it out for Tenet. A movie that I liked, didn't love, but the way they're able to do, the whole movie is backwards, forwards, and whatever. And the car chase stuff specifically.
That's a really good choice. And if I would have thought of it, I would have put that on there because, the movie, like, it doesn't have that aha moment.
Yeah.
Like other Nolan movies does.
Right.
Like, oh, I get what's going on. The whole time you're just like, what?
Like, I don't.
But just the feat alone of that movie and how they shot it, in particular, that
and it was
scene,
really exciting. I mean, I was
never
invested in the whole movie, and I've never seen that before. So I was like, "This is awesome." I have no fucking clue what's happening, and for that reason, so Tenet's on there. Fury Road, which I talked about. There's not even a scene. It's just like
the whole movie.
The movie.
Yeah.
Nothing happens in that movie though.
There's not one thing happening.
Nothing happened.
And then not Baby Driver. That is an honorable mention for me, but Drive.
The Gosling one.
Yeah, and I don't even honestly remember the car chase that well. I just really like that movie. And it was one of my favorite in theater experiences. The elevator scene. You could have heard a pin drop 3 theaters down. It was. People were fucking shocked.
There was a lot of sitting quietly in corners in that movie, and you're just waiting for something that pin to drop.
Totally.
And when it does, it drops big time.
It does for sure. And I'll never forget that. And walking out of the theater, you could tell people were just like, "What did I just see?"
Yeah.
Not even just that scene specifically, but just the movie itself.
Nicholas Winding Refn is an interesting director.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know a lot of his stuff.
I don't know if I would say he's my favorite, but Drive is really good.
Yeah. Loved Drive. And then the Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
We've covered that on the podcast here. It's got maybe the silliest car chase, which is really fun. So yeah, we'll go with Blues Brothers.
Nice.
For number 4.
I like it. I'm going to start out with Bullet. That was one of the first ones that I was blown away by, like kind of like French Connection. It's like, they did this all practically, like just driving through the streets of San Francisco and just, I think I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but rumors of like no permits. They just kind of like filmed like guerrilla style, just like,
well, we're
just going to kind of go at least on some of it, which I wouldn't necessarily be too surprised. But yeah, my grandpa was a huge Steve McQueen fan. So he showed that to me. I was like, whoa, and this is cool.
A car chase in San Francisco is just bananas. Driving in that city is hard enough. Like,
yeah, it's kind of nuts. So I love that. I love that movie and that scene specifically. One of my favorites, I don't think people love, speaking of unsung gems, Death Proof from Tarantino.
Oh, right.
Specifically the final car chase.
A good character, but not my favorite Tarantino movie.
Which is understandable. I get why people don't love it, but I feel like that last car chase can't be denied, with like Zoe Bell just like holding on. Like, and she's doing her own stunts because she's a stunt woman. Like she originally was doing the Kill Bills, I think, for Uma Thurman and stuff. So knowing that that's all happening as practical as possible is just like blows my mind. I love it. Plus Rosario Dawson. So if a Crushmore is in there, I gotta throw it in.
For sure. Crushmore. That's good. That's, just like, even the worst Tarantino movie, there's still great parts about it. Right.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So I can appreciate it. Not something I'm going to pop in every day, but
which makes sense. That's one of those, like, almost jokingly, I was like literally on the edge of my seat in the theater watching it. Cause like, what the fuck's going on? Like, I know she's on it. Like, this is crazy. But as far as like Tarantino goes, with dialogue, like I totally understand it. But I do love Death Proof. I had to shout out The Dark Knight. I think that was in my mind just from the Batman happening recently, and specifically like going into the underground when the Joker's like in the semi. We kind of see the tumbler, and then we see the Bat Pod for the first time when he comes out of there. All the way up to just like flipping the semi. I think all of that's just, I don't know, just really captivating. So
absolutely.
I don't
great choice.
Think of it as a car chase movie by any means, but that one specifically is like, man, this scene is
well, and great. They did the opposite of the thing that I complained about in the new Batman, where a ramp suddenly appears. I know he made it appear, but like real convenient. There's always a car transport trailer in front of
exactly.
But in The Dark Knight, he just blows through everything.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we'll just blow it up.
I was just like, thank God he didn't jump over something. Like, why?
Exactly.
There's always some ramp you can jump off of. So I appreciate that about.
Suspend your disbelief, Fuzz. Come on.
Batman would never.
He would not.
That is so unrealistic.
Did you pick Fury Road too?
I figured someone would take it. So no,
okay.
I didn't. But it would absolutely be on mine as well.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, it would definitely make mine, but I've said on here multiple times, if there's any time I can talk about Ferris Bueller on here, I'm going to. So it's at the very end of the movie, but when his sister's like trying to chase him home, and like we're having that foot race and that music going, and the whole sequence like jumping through the backyards, like it's maybe more of a foot race, but Jeannie is definitely trying to get there in the car, you know. So like I'm like maybe fibbing, like kind of bending the rules here, but
we make the rules, we break the rules.
Yeah, there's a car involved in a chase, so I'm going to go with it.
Last one I'll throw as an honorable mention, but the movie Ronin with Robert De Niro.
Right, I've seen it, but I don't remember it well enough to.
That one's kind of all a car chase scene too. You know, it's just kind of like an espionage thriller thing, and honestly, I don't remember much about the plot, but I do remember the car chase scenes were insane because it's very similar to kind of what you're talking about with San Francisco. I forget where it's based, but it's in something like Italy where there's these tiny roads everywhere and they're going through everything. So pretty, I'm not sure if that's where it was. I'm just guessing. Italian Job was there. So
it's funny. I was going to say, by mentioning this, I'm going to disprove what I'm about to say, but we didn't even mention Fast and the Furious, and I like that.
Honestly, I had Fast 5 in there just for that bank vault scene. I actually rewatched it today during lunch. I'm like, man, it's pretty entertaining what they pulled off here, but I couldn't put it above any of these ones in particular.
I did like the very first Fast and the Furious, which is actually the only one I've seen, but I liked. It was improbable because they obviously raised the trailers, but the way that the cars went under the trailers and stuff, something I'd never really seen before, so I thought that was cool. But it also almost killed one of my friends because they went out street racing after they watched it and rolled their car and were in the hospital that night. So
that's rough.
Not the greatest influence, but I thought it was cool at the time.
When did that first one come out? Was it?
It was a while ago.
2001?
90 or like 2000, 2001.
So I've got a funny Fast and Furious take. Never been a huge fan of those movies. Same,
seen the one.
And now at this point where they know it's ridiculous, right? Yeah. They're just keep making them. So here's my pitch. So when I used to write DVD reviews, when I would collect movies, I was unemployed for a small amount of time, and I just wrote these reviews, and they would send me all these movies. You get to keep them as part of the review, but the reviews had to be like insanely detailed, and they sent me the Fast and Furious trilogy. And I had to watch all 3 movies and every single special feature. They make you watch all. And there was like 14. There was more special features than there was of the movie.
I'm gonna spend the $20, man.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know. I can't even imagine what that review said. But I've hated those movies ever since.
I don't blame you.
And so I didn't really care. I did see Hobbs and Shaw randomly, and that's kind of a spin-off thing anyway.
Yeah.
But and that was fine. I mean, it's just like, sometimes you got to see The Rock save the world.
Yeah.
Who
doesn't?
Yeah. Fast 5 was another theater experience where like I told my cousin, we'll go see whatever you want. And she actually picked Fast 5. It's like, okay, this hasn't been good for a while. But I was like into it. I was like, okay, I kind of see what they're going with here. And like, bringing, I think that's the first one with The Rock. It's like, okay, he's a little bit of a franchise savior, a little bit. So it was entertaining to say the least.
There is a little bit of, now it's to the point where so many people love it. I'm like, am I missing something here?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I am. And, God bless you if you love the Fast and the Furious. But there is a part of me that kind of wants to go through the whole run at least once, just to. Well,
it's funny you said that because I was like, man, season 3, maybe we should just watch all the Fast and Furious and all the Harry Potters. Like, let's just do all the franchises Tyler hasn't watched yet. Yeah, that'll be our whole season. Let's just go one.
I would do it.
It'd be pretty fun. I think it'd be great. I actually haven't seen the most recent Fast and Furious or number 4. I just never watched it. It was like
season 3, all about me.
All about you. I love it. Well, we reached out on social media to ask some of our, listeners and stuff like what some of their favorite car chases were.
Movie Club came through as always.
Always. The guys from the podcast Nobody Asked For just said the entirety of Mad Max Fury Road, which I think we've already hit on quite a bit here. Kayla from Screen Vomit. They said the kick-ass theme to a car-based show, Knight Rider. It's my favorite way to not answer the question. I think that's a great answer. So
that's very on brand for Kayla. Yeah. From what I know about them.
It was great. Yeah. Mike Messina from the Action Filmmaking Decoded pod. They've been on before. They're coming back. He said the trippy finale to Speed Racer, as well as the boat chase and Face Off. So again, any Nick Cage.
It's a boat chase, not a car chase.
Yeah,
it's a water car.
It's a chase. A car without wheels. Austin Hutchins says anything in Baby Driver, which again, like we've really hit on, like that movie is just like dialed in 100%. And our buddy Chris from Real Ramblin', he said to keep it Wachowski, The Matrix Reloaded Highway Chase. So
classic.
Which I apparently don't remember. Well, I straight up don't remember that.
That's a great action.
I'm excited to go through the trilogy.
Be reminded in June, I think, whenever we're talking about it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Cool. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you guys want to go over? I mean, we covered a lot with Speed Racer.
Let's see. It's not really important, but we covered City of God last week.
Oh, yeah.
Which is another thing introduced by the Podfather here. One of my all-time favorites in my all-time Rushmore top 4, thanks to you.
Oh, you're welcome. That would be in my top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
Of all time. It's an amazing movie.
It was really fun to rewatch that one. It'd been quite a while, so it was a good conversation.
It's not relevant to this movie, but
it's crazy.
And so realistic.
That's what I brought up. I think the first time I saw it, I didn't know where the documentary like cut off and the narrative came in. It's like, this seems like very realistic. It's kind of the scene specifically when that kid gets shot in the foot. It's like, I think they may have really shot that kid in the foot because his reaction
that
is
kid
like
can't
amazing.
walk these days.
Yeah, it was just kind of crazy. But,
last thing I'll say about Speed Racer is that, they created a world no matter how ridiculous and stuck to it.
Right.
And I see that as an accomplishment.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Like technically, like they knocked this movie out of the park, but I'm just picky and
No, I get it. It's not for everyone. And who is the movie for? It was your original question. I think it's a valid one.
I feel like if this was 2 hours and like 10 minutes long, 15 minutes, like if it was 145, even 150, like
Wachowskis don't really make short movies. So
right. But like, I don't have a problem with that in The Matrix,
It's true.
I guess I'll find out, in our crossover event when I watch Cloud Atlas literally tonight, how I feel about Wachowskis and their long movies.
Tyler is coming on our podcast.
Not Jupiter Ascending.
Not Jupiter Ascending.
Though I can see how you mix those two up.
Yeah, that's my bad. I was like, I don't know, it's one of those bad Wachowski movies, I think. So it's
those 3 hour
the Channing Tatum
Wachowski
one.
movies. It is, giving it Cloud Atlas is 3 hours.
I'd say if it's a real punishment review, they're going to go with the Channing Tatum for sure.
No, it's actually part of our. What do we call it? Complicated Failures Festival.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then our punishment review is Welcome to Marwin. But
that's right.
We did AI. We did The Lady Killers by the Coen brothers. We did The Lovely Bones, Peter Jackson. And then we're doing Cloud Atlas as our final one. And then our punishment review is Zemeckis and Welcome to Marwin. So
I'm excited for that. Well, do you want to plug your podcast?
Please like and subscribe. All that stuff. Right. Go search for Deep Dive Film School. You'll find us on Instagram, YouTube, that kind of stuff. Pretty much wherever you listen to podcasts.
Smash that subscribe button, right?
That's right.
That's what the kids say.
YouTube is my most recommended because we put a lot of time and effort into the B-roll of everything, and it's just fun to watch, and we throw in some funny jokes and stuff in there. So
agreed.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for coming here. Also, feel free to check out our YouTube or Spotify. I guess they're now playing video pods, which are kind of awesome. So
that's great. I didn't know that.
You can check that out there. But go subscribe, listen to Tyler. He's going to go on and talk about Cloud Atlas. So
Lord knows you can't get enough of me.
Cannot get enough.
I can't.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next week to wrap up our Unsung Gems with Michael Clayton, which I am so excited to talk about.
Excited.
I love that movie.
That is a great movie.
Yeah, I think I may have pressured Matt into picking it because it was his choice and he's the only one that hasn't seen it out of us. But he's like, I really wanted to. I was like, cool, I'm not going to argue if I can watch.
I haven't seen it either.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, I thought you had for some reason.
No, I was confused.
Cool. All right, perfect. Well, this is going to be really good.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
So I'm stoked. Cool. Right. Awesome. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
I want to be a race car passenger. Just a guy who bugs the driver. Say, man, can I turn on the radio? You should slow down. Well, we got to keep going in circles. Man, you really like Tide.